Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us. With me on this session, it's Festus Igodaro. I will allow him to introduce himself and tell us how he fits into the picture for ProcessMaker for Access Bank. Festus, over to you.
Thank you very much, Afe. My name is Festus Igodaro. I'm the head of Business Process Improvement and Automation team of Access Bank, and I actually implemented the ProcessMaker solution for the organization. Access Bank is the biggest bank in Nigeria in terms of asset size, among the top 10 now in Africa. And I'm here to just answer some questions with respect to what I know that, with respect to what ProcessMaker has done for us. So thank you. That's a brief introduction about myself. Afe, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Everyone, I am Afe Araromi. I'm the Director for Service Delivery for Dipole Diamond. Dipole Diamond, one of ProcessMaker Elite's partners in Africa. So I want to start this way first. Could you give us a brief history of the problems and challenges that Access Bank was experiencing that led the bank to seek out a solution for business process automation and thereby choosing ProcessMaker? Would you be kind to give us a brief history about that, the problems you faced?
Yes, the bank started at initially we started as a corporate organization, corporate bank, banking big time companies and organizations. But we decided to dive into retail, and going into retail, there was need for us to have a solution, a workflow solution that will enhance, because our branches were multiplying, and it was becoming very difficult to process customers' transaction from a single point. And we needed multi-point to attend to our customers. So there was need for a workflow tool. We actually invested in a workflow tool. We invested some amount of money in procuring a workflow tool, but we had challenges. What are the challenges? One, we couldn't take ownership of that solution. When I mean ownership, we couldn't actually do enhancements on that solution. So there was over-reliance on the owners of those solutions for every change we needed to make. And we're in a dynamic environment whereby changes are constant, changes are frequent, changes are required, whether driven by regulation or other means. So changes are just continuous. So there's no way we could sustain that. Apart from that, the huge cost of making those changes by those vendors was something unacceptable to our organization. And again, we also had problem with adoption of that solution. So by and large, in spite of the amount we invested in it, adoption value was low. We had about 15 to 20 processes on that solution, and it never really met our needs. There were a lot of complaints about it. So it paved the way for us to look for alternate solution that could meet the need of Access Bank. Thank you.
Okay. Many persons may not know this, but those of us here in Nigeria, especially in the banking and IT space, we know that Access Bank, one of the factors that drives success for Access Bank is the way the bank has been able to employ technology. And I know Access Bank from experience too is very, very critical about what technologies it onboards for use for its banking operations. So I want to piggyback on the statement you made concerning the fact that you could not really take ownership of the BPM tool you were using before. Apart from that, were there other features or product criteria that Access Bank was sticking in what they would call a BPM tool perfect for them? Were there product features that you also considered apart from the fact that you needed to take ownership, and that's decided or was a factor in how Access Bank was able to conclude on saying ProcessMaker tool we want to use? Could you throw more light on that, please?
Okay, so like I said, as a retail bank, there was need for us to have interactions across all our points and people operating from those points and those axes. And some of the challenges we had that we're using lots of paper. There were courier, for example, if account is open at a point, we centralized a unit where the review of those accounts are being done. So there were a lot of costs having to do printing, heavy printing, and couriering those documents across different locations. And it was huge. And apart from that, also, approval was something that is a structural organization, and a lot of people needed to make approvals up to many a times the group managing director. So every time people are printing, huge papers are being printed and having to make that approval, everyone will need to sign, moving paper from desk to desk. There are a need for secretaries to handle those things. But we needed a solution that we could actually make all of those automations seamless without human intervention, people having to review even from their comfort of their home or on a business trip in their hotel room and all that. So, and I think ProcessMaker came handy for that, and we're able to actually embrace it.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. I want to come back to you from this other perspective. We know that bringing a new platform or solution to an organization is not an easy feat at all. So could you throw some light on how you were able to get the bank, the staff and employees to buy in and adopt ProcessMaker as a platform? Because I have an understanding that an Access Bank, almost every business operation is automated on the platform. How were you able to get the units and departments to move away from what they were using before and adopt the platform as something that could really help them?
Okay, one thing I will give to ProcessMaker is the usability of the solution and the user friendliness of the solution. That was one of the things that really helped us. Users, we started with 10 processes, and when users started using it, and they realized that this is something that is easy, this is something that meets their needs. So adoption became something that wasn't too difficult. As of today now, we have close to about both in Nigerian subsidiary, close to about 400 processes on ProcessMaker, and this were built internally by us. And up till this moment, people still want more and more processes on ProcessMaker. So it's became something quite, the adoption was high. And in terms of people wanting to, we didn't spend much time with the effort we had put into it initially, because people always resist change. But when I got the backing of my senior management, my executive director supported me, and not just him, other executive director also supported us. So there were a lot of push from their end as well. I insisted that, look, I'm not going to sign any paper document that I can put on the workflow on ProcessMaker. And they said, yes, I push with whatever you want in this area. Let's go for it, because at the end of the day, the bank is going to benefit. And today, it's something that we all are happy about, we all are proud of, and it has actually benefited the organization greatly. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I want to come in and ask you this other question before I return to talking about time to deployment, or how much time the bank spent, your team spent in putting together the first couple or the first batch of processes to bring value. But before we go to that, I want to ask, I want to highlight this particular thing you talked about, that the GMD made a statement, and everybody got to know about that he wasn't going to sign any paper if that process was something that could be automated on ProcessMaker. So in other words, you were telling our viewers that it's very important that the management are part of the critical stakeholders that can drive implementation of automation in an organization. Is that correct?
Yes, you're quite correct. So it's something that, because they also saw the value and they actually benefited from it. Many years ago, I remember GMD, because of lots of documents you need to sign off, it would have to travel at times with lots of documents, having to sign off heaps and heaps of documents. And today, he doesn't need to carry any paper anywhere. He can do that from using his mobile phone, using his tablet, using his laptop. He can give his approval, give his comment, and you don't need to wait for a day or two to see. Immediately he's giving it. You get an alert, you see, you check your phone, you see his comment, and you make it necessary, whether you approve it or he makes his comment or he suggests, you see it on the go. So he can be anywhere in the world you're working and things are going on fine.
Fantastic.
So management buy-in and management support is very critical for a solution like this to succeed in any organization.
Thank you very much for that input. So I want to bring to your notice a particular statement credited to the GMD. Not the GMD now, but the erstwhile ED for IT and operations at the Bajamo in 2019. It's a statement he made, said ProcessMaker has become more critical than our core banking application. It is the only application used by the group managing director. I just want you to throw more light on that. Is that statement actually factual?
Well, ProcessMaker has become critical. I would say more critical than our core banking application, because that is the base. That is the base. The core banking application is the base. But ProcessMaker became a tool that is very critical. For example, we can afford to say our email system is not working for a day, for some few hours, but we can afford ProcessMaker not to be available for that same number of hours, or even in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, there was going to be a lot of agitation across the system. So it's clear that the application is critical, and is being used by is one of the major applications being used by top executive, because they grant approvals, and most of our approvals are on ProcessMaker, so they interact with the application often and on. Thank you.
Yeah, so I want to also bring this. I remember that when Access Bank started, one of the very decisions that we made very early on that has helped the bank is the fact that the bank decided to build a ProcessMaker team, and that team was placed under your charge. And you've had people come in, trained, and they were able to build so many processes, handle those processes. And at a point in time, I think that should be 2019, your team, the ProcessMaker team under you, won the GMD Award of the Year, something like that. Is that correct? Could you just throw more light on that and talk about how ProcessMaker has helped the bank since implementation?
Okay, so fine. In 2019, we won the Innovation of the Year, the Best Project of the Year. I also won the Best Project Manager of the Year, alongside that same award. What we did was that, like we said, we only started with 10. We started with about 10 processes, getting a third-party vendor, which is your company as well, Dipole Diamond, to work with us for implementation of the first 10. And from that 10 to the about 400 we have today. Apart from that 10, the other ones, close to over 300 processes, were built by our own team, people that we recruited and trained. All of those processes were built by them without any external support or assistance. So it's been a long journey, and it's been quite exciting. That is exactly what we wanted. So we have taken ownership of the application. We can build any process we want to build on it and achieve what we want to achieve with solution. And it has been very, very beneficial to us. We've been able to meet very tight regulatory requirements when other organizations are struggling because of the tool that we have, up to the recent Naira redesign and changes that the Central Bank of Nigeria directive. So all of those changes have been implemented. And apart from that, also, we've saved a lot of funds in terms of paper usage, printing, and turnaround time, and massive number of hours being saved, because you don't need people to start doing the manual work that you used to do prior to now. So all of these has been great benefit to the organization.
Yeah. So I want to write on the back of your statements in terms of ProcessMaker helping the bank to save money. There's a statement that's accredited to the EDIT of Operations Access Bank. That was in 2020 during the COVID period, when he said ProcessMaker has helped the bank to save $10 million yearly. So would you just quickly share some metrics about the success you had with ProcessMaker in the bank, in terms of how many processes? You talked about 400. So how many requests or cases do you run monthly or annually? How many users are on your platform, on the ProcessMaker platform in the bank?
Okay, total users in ProcessMaker platform, there are about 20,000, over 20,000 people have access to this platform. And on a daily basis, we do about 60 to 70,000 cases are initiated. And on a monthly basis, that's about 1.2 million cases are initiated on ProcessMaker platform on an annual basis. So on a yearly basis, we have close to 14 million records are generated on ProcessMaker. So it's quite a huge one for us, and it's something that we still want to do more. Like my engagement with the ProcessMaker marketing team, we want to do more, and the bank is poised towards doing more. We have our subsidiaries that are not yet on ProcessMaker. We'll get them in, and we'll get some other people that are already in. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, Festus. It was quite an informative session listening to you talk about the success you've had with ProcessMaker at Access Bank. Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Afe. Thank you. Yeah.